Hi guys, this is Mog with Mog's Cast. Welcome to the first official episode, coming at you today from Kerbal Space Program, as with the original video, whatevs. It's the one I've been playing recently and the one I'm going to be doing videos for. In the first video, it wasn't, the quality kind of sucked, there was no audio commentary, so I'm working on that. I'm doing a live commentary this time, actually just gonna get the game going here. But, yeah, was gonna do some post-commentary on the first video, once I got that all figured out, because it was the first time I've actually ever uploaded something to YouTube. So, and the first time I've edited a video in a very long time, so, still kind of on the learning end of those things. As you can see here, I've got my two save files. One, obviously, is my simulator, the Ucky Simulator, and then my United Kerbal Industries is my actual game, where I'm trying, the key word here, not to kill Kerbals and or destroy the Space Center by dropping crap on it. So using parachutes to save parts, all that in the whole 9 yards. Not as crazy as I've seen on Hawk Gaming and or Scott Manley's web pages or channels. But those guys are great, by the way. If you haven't seen their stuff, you should really go check them out. Of course, subscribe, like those guys there, who taught me all these great, amazing little tips and tricks, and who I've watched tons of, because they know what they're doing. And Scott is a freaking genius. I think he's like a physicist or some craziness. Anyway, get this all loaded up. We're going to use the simulator, because I don't want to be flying stuff around and kill Kerbals if I don't have to in my main game. So this is where I do most of my new builds, and or just mess around. So what I'm going to do today is jump into the spaceplane hangar, because a lot of people know the vehicle assembly buildings, doing the rockets and all that. That's been in the game for a very long time. Relatively new is the spaceplane hangar. It's been out for a little while now, but overall there isn't. It hasn't been around too long. What I'm also going to show you guys today is a craft file I downloaded completely stock. As you'll see, I do have some mods installed. Most of them are balanced. I do have one or two that some folks would maybe consider OP in a persistent world, and I try not to use those when I'm doing my challenge modes. But what I'm going to show you today is a plane from, let's see if I can grab that name, Gergely Daku. Uploaded this plane here, the SeaDuck, to the spaceport, the Kerbal spaceport. It's the ship from the children's cartoon Tailspin that I remember watching as a kid. So when I saw it pop up there one day, I was kind of thrown back, a little nostalgia. It's been a really long time since I've seen that show. I don't remember much of it, but I remember thinking it was a cool show when I was a kid. And I really did like the plane, the style of plane, really cool. It was a seaplane in the show, and this obviously it is not, but same overall design. So I'm going to take this thing out for a spin. It's a very cool plane, very well built. I did make some modifications when I was trying to turn it into a space plane, to actually take into space. That has not gone well, to say the least. I am still learning on that front, on how to properly build a space plane that I can actually get into a stable orbit, have enough fuel to dock up with my station and refuel it and actually use it to go places. Because it's cool to get a space plane up into orbit, but come on, you gotta be able to dock it at the very least as like a passenger transport or something. My goal with that is to actually get one up into orbit and out to the moon and start doing some cathane mining and actually make it useful for exploring the galaxy. If I can actually get it landed on other planets and mining up, actually see how far I can make it across the galaxy with that. But here we go. We are launching this, the SeaDuck from Tailspin. And I haven't mentioned yet, I actually do have a joystick. Lucky enough to be one of the folks playing Kerbal Space Program with a joystick I've had for a while. Got that joystick from Mech Warrior back in the day. Great game if you haven't played it. But here we go. Oh, let me adjust my view to an orbital, a little easier to track view here. I've got all that stuff set up. I've got lights, gears, brakes, all that whole 9 yards set up on my joystick on the button, so it makes flying space planes easy. Relatively. I've definitely crashed, killed lots of Kerbals doing this, but when you get a well-built and well-balanced plane, it actually does make it pretty darn easy. And I'm fighting against what this plane wants to do right now. This thing likes to pitch up for a little while, if you let it, and that's fine. It's very stable. In fact, I am not touching the controls. I have it full throttle, centered pretty well. I don't even have SAS on. This thing doesn't have avionics. This is straight out of the box. It's all stock parts. Very well built, I think. The one thing that did bug me and actually prompted me to start modifying this plane was this tail. As you can see, it isn't stable. Oops, I better get that back on track. Okay, there we go. Leveled out again for the most part. But I actually took some struts and locked those together, and it still flies great. I did add a few more control surfaces, one more on each side of this, so it filled the entire length here, and it looks pretty good. This thing likes to get up to around, he mentioned in the comments that it likes about 2,700, if I'm not mistaken, 2,700 meters. This thing actually flies great up at 5K as well, and you can get some good speed up at 5,000 meters. So I'm going to take it up there, show you guys it's really stable. Once it levels out, basically your air intakes will be feeding still pretty well, but it starts to drop your speed as you get up to about the 5K mark, and it actually just levels out and flies great. And like I said, like right now I am not touching the controls anymore. I did to pitch it up and all that, but it's just kind of cruising back down. It'll get down to about the horizon level. It's been a little while since I've flown this, but if I'm not mistaken, it should level out and stay stable. Right around level, right at the horizon, the artificial horizon down here. Right at the zip. I don't know what that's called. Whatever. You guys can tell me in the comments if you really want. But as you can see, it's not even eating that much fuel. It's got 2 turbojets on here, 4 of the radial intakes, and 2 ram, and this little guy up here, the circular intake on the nose. Look at that. To 160 and still climbing, right there level. I did just adjust the roll a little bit, but this thing is... It's amazing. I love this plane. It's great. It's really well built. I have to hand it to the guy. He knows what he's doing when he's building these planes. It's really cool. So we're coming out here to the island. Getting up here, we're going to land on this runway if I can keep it stable enough to do that. We've got, looks like, Furzon, Kerbal, Hudsby, and Kirk. Oh, there's Kirk. I haven't actually seen him before. Maybe I haven't, just killed him too quickly, but hopefully maybe we'll keep this guy alive. Because I remember Kirk from some of the older videos, and I thought it was Kirk, little nod at, you know, Star Trek. If you want to look at it that way, otherwise it is just another name. Whatevs. People have the name Kirk. But, so let's see. We're just going to be bringing this guy in. Kind of drop it down. I'm going to go a little wide out and then back in on this, I think. And I'm actually going to speed this up just a hair. Going to 2 times physical warp, which can be a little tricky sometimes. As you can see, it's starting to wobble. Whoa! Don't turn on SAS. That's a bad idea, Mog. What are you doing? Okay. So, as you can see, yeah, things like to shake and wobble and fritter all around when you do that physics warp, especially when you go above 2 times. It's ridiculous. I'm going to throttle down because this is getting a little stiff on the controls. We're down to about just under 2,000 meters up. It's a decent time to start our turn in with such a large plane. I know this isn't large compared to some. I've seen some big ones. I have some big ones saved. I have a military replica pack. Right now I cannot remember who does it. I have a mod list posted on my first video episode 00 for the non-commentated one, but if you want to check it out or curious about what mods I do have installed, if there's plenty that I do have installed that are not seen, at least I don't think, in this video. So if you're curious what I'm using, by all means, go check it out. And I do have links to all of them to download pages if you do want to check some of them out. And I will toss up a download link to this one in the About section of this video, for the SeaDuck, that is. So coming in, got my gear down. I'm going to turn on my lights, because it's actually a really good reference when you're landing, is lights. I'm sure most of you are aware. If you're new, maybe not so much, but always a good idea to put lights. Because especially if they're facing down when you're landing, it gives you a really good idea of just how high you are. Because you can't always trust that altimeter up there on the top center of the screen. It isn't always accurate. That is accurate to sea level. So whatever the default level of where the sea renders on a world, that is 0 meters. So hills, mountains, things like that, canyons, do not stay true to that. Oh boy. Coming in a little hard, gonna throttle back up and try to get some better lateral. There we go, that should be fine. Oh boy. That was a little rougher than I like, but I think I'm okay. Yep, we're good. Okay, just dropping the brakes and bringing this thing to a stop. All throttled down. I do have parachutes that I can release if I wanted to, but they're not necessary. At least right now. I've definitely had to use them in the past, but for how wobbly that landing was initially, I think that turned out okay. Didn't break nothing. That is the SeaDuck. Go check it out if you like. Once again, from Gergely Daku. I hope I'm saying that right. And yeah, we'll see you next time.